Why do it seem like, why do it seem like can't nobody handle the truth out here? With that real talk with Toy. You came big, you lying. You came big, you ain't telling the truth. You came big, you lying. You came big, you ain't telling the truth. I like that topic. I like that topic. What up, what up? Thanks for tuning in to Real Talk with Toy for another real topic. Let's get it.
Thanks for tuning in to Topics, Real Talk with Toy. I got a small amount of my circle on here. We are going to be talking about mental health for women during this time of COVID-19. Um, because as we all know, we're all going through something and everybody is feeling the same raft. And so we're just going to share a little bit of how we feel. And I'm sure you all can relate as you listen and tune in. It may end up to becoming a part two, but that's okay. So we're going to start out with introducing ourselves again. Y'all already know Real Talk with Toy, that's me. And then we also have,
I'm Tanya. I'm her sister.
and
I'm Jocelyn. I'm her cousin.
yes. What's up? What's up, y'all? So, before we get started, I hope everybody already got your drinks, got your snacks, and everything so we can get comfortable and do this thing. Get down to it. Um, well, we've been talking a lot about different things that, we all go through as women. And we women already have always had a hard time with the things that we do on a daily basis. It's almost like an extra. It's extra. So on top of this COVID-19, um I would like to ask you guys questions, and it doesn't matter who answers them, and let's just all engage in the conversation together. um when I say the word, and again, I want to stress all this is all due to COVID-19. um when I say the word anxiety, what do you guys feel and think when I say that word anxiety as being a woman?
You can go ahead first, Jocelyn.
Oh, I think you're okay.
Yeah, okay, I got it. Anxiety. I think women generally always have anxiety. Um, because we have a lot more responsibilities. So, on top of our natural anxiety, um, it's one thing when you can't control what's going on around you, and especially, I think everybody's probably had anxiety, from this pandemic. But with women, I think it's just a little extra because we're always worried about stuff anyway. So I think it's a little extra. Um, I just hope that most of us still have our sane mind through this pandemic, because you have to really be strong
Hmm.
through something like this. So, you
Abs-
know, it
absolutely.
is a very, I mean, it can go, it's different levels to
Hmm.
anxiety.
Hmm.
Um, and it's a test to yourself of what type of person you are on how you handle this pandemic anxiety.
Hmm.
This will show you who you truly are.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, um, you know, I learned a lot about myself. I thought I knew myself a lot, but I learned even more about myself during this pandemic. So um,
Right.
it was, and it, like I said, it was different levels as well. You
Mm-hmm.
know that I went through. You know, it was different levels of anxiety I went through.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was panicking when no one else was panicking,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't because they didn't. I think some people just really don't get. They get stuff late. You know, it clicks in late, so that's why it seems like, oh, they just don't get what's going on. No, they're just, it's a delay in the, somewhere in their brain. It's a delay. They ain't getting it. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, but that's what I think about
When
anxiety.
when you say that it's a delay and they're not getting it, do you think it's more in like one of those things to where they're not trying to get it, they don't want to get it, they don't care about getting it, or they just
Okay, it's just like I could be a type of person that when something happened, I think about what the results of what's going on could be.
okay,
I could be a person that thinks way ahead of time, right?
okay, mm-hmm,
Then the next person can be a person that just only thinks in the moment and they don't look past
right,
that. They just stay right there. They don't look at what could happen.
mm-hmm,
What is the domino effect, I call it?
mm-hmm,
What is the domino effect of what's going on?
right,
Some people don't look at the domino effect because it's too much for them.
mm-hmm,
You know what I'm saying? Me, I look at the domino effect. So I'm already looking at almost the worst that could happen
I'm the
in
same
a
way.
lot of situations.
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
I'm the same way. You know, when you say anxiety, for me,
mm-hmm,
it's like every day there's a little bit of anxiety because you can't do the things that you used to be able to do. You know what I mean? Like think about, okay, you have to go to the store real quick. Well, there's other things you have to think about before you can just hop in the car and go to the store. That
mm-hmm,
gives you anxiety. Like you got to make sure you got your mask. You got to make sure you know you're protected. You know that brings on a lot of anxiety. And when you say people don't look ahead, there's a lot of people that just live in the moment. They
mm-hmm,
they
Exactly.
hear they hear what's going on, but they don't think about how it's going to affect them in the future.
right,
Yeah, exactly. And
And
that's
and
a
that
lot of these
alone
millennials.
is a lot of anxiety.
mm-hmm,
Hmm.
And
And
mm-hmm,
it's
the millennials, I would call them, that's the young folks.
mm-hmm,
mhm,
The millennials are a lot like that. They don't look to the, they just live for the moment.
yeah,
exactly.
And they don't want to think about the consequences at the time. They don't want to see the domino effect. They just want to live for the moment right now. But
It's almost like, do you think it's almost like they don't care? You know what I mean? Like it is what it is, and not really saying, okay, well, how is this going to affect my future?
yeah,
you
I
know,
think they do, but I think a lot of that the scary part of that type of thinking is when you have to consider other people around you. That's
Right.
the scary part of that type of thinking because they could endanger your life. You know what I'm saying? Because of the way they think. You know what I'm saying? And you're wondering like how can they think like this and are they thinking about me?
mhm.
So, that's something hard to grasp right there for me, I know.
I I was just thinking about the other day, and I was wondering if when, because our generation, I don't recall going through anything like this
Mm-mm.
when we were younger. I don't recall going through a crisis like this. And so I was thinking the other day, how would I have went about things if COVID-19 had have came about back then? would I really take precaution like I am now? Would I really care about what we have to do to protect ourselves as well as family, just people around us? And the way I was back in the day, I probably wouldn't have gave a damn. To be honest with you, I would have known that, yeah, okay, we're in a situation that could become deadly, but that ain't gonna stop me from partying. That ain't gonna stop me from wanting to be in people's face and do all the things that I liked to do when I was at that age. And it's real sad because now, that I'm older, that's a horrible situation. That's a horrible thing to even think about, you know?
Right.
Yeah, you made a point when you said, okay, so the way people are raised, that that has a big part in how people respond.
Mm-hmm.
I think the way that I was raised, I would have listened.
Mm-hmm.
I would have, if they would have said, this is some deadly, virus around. You need to take cover. You need to go in the house. You need to not come out, especially by the people that I growed up under. Um, it would have only took my mama and I growed up in the church, and the
Mm-hmm.
pastor that I growed up under, which is my first cousin.
Mm-hmm.
That's all he would have had to say is go in your house and shut the door. That's
Mm-hmm.
all he would have had to say, and I would have listened.
Mm-hmm.
I would listen to anything he say
Mm-hmm.
because that's the way I was raised.
Right.
Yeah, but
Everybody
when
ain't
you
raised
have,
like that.
yes, and I agree with you, but when you have parents
Mm-hmm.
that are not enforcing things or not really telling their kids, this is serious, you need to do this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if your parents don't care, why should you?
Right. But
Yeah.
right. And I want to get to that in just a second because that's how this generation now is. But back when we were growing up, our dad was a pastor, and if this situation was going on, daddy wouldn't play all that running in and out, we us hanging out. We could not, we wouldn't be able to do all that. That just
No,
wasn't gonna happen. And
right.
and bringing mess home to his house, he just wasn't get ready to go for that. But at the same time, we were so hard headed, we would have found a way to hang
But see,
out.
the thing is, we listened.
We
We
listened.
listened.
We
Yeah.
We might
listened.
Yeah.
not have
These children.
liked it, but we listened.
But we listened.
Yeah. These
Yeah.
children these days, they don't listen. They
No.
don't listen at all. And sometimes I know it's been a couple of times that I looked at my own kids and be like, are you really asking me, can you go do this? Like my youngest son, he's so tired of being in the house he asked me, could I go do this? So do you know the consequences of what you're asking me? You're asking me, could you go around someone else and that possibly could be an asymptomatic person, and you bring it back to me and I possibly die? That's what you're actually asking me. You're not
Mm-hmm.
asking me, could you go here? Could you go there?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I got to actually trust the people that you're going to with, like your best friend, you going to his house. So I got to trust him and his whole family
Mm-hmm.
for you, just so you can feel normal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's that's a lot of why people do the things that they do. They want to feel normal, whatever that means.
Right. Right.
So,
And yep. And that's where when Tanya was mentioning the fact on, you know, uh parents not showing their kids enough uh enough respect for them to respect others. You get what I'm saying? Like they parents hanging out too. They don't care. Hell, they doing what they want to do as well. So all the kids are doing, they just following suit with, you know, my mom, that she having company. She doing what she want to do. Hell, she smoking with whoever. She drinking with whomever. I can get out there and do the same thing, you know. And
Yeah.
that's how a lot of these uh, younger generations, they're looking at things like that. They may be in denial about it, but it's just the truth. And it don't, people can care less until it literally hits home.
Yeah.
When it hits home, then it's the problem.
But let me say this. Pay close attention to um those type of parents um that just do they show, oh, they go out and do everything, and they hanging out and everything. That's a pattern that they've already been doing. That just, it just goes right along with what they already do. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
their character.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? So it shows what type of parent they
Right.
were.
Yeah,
Now, you could be
absolutely.
a good parent and chastise your kids and tell them right, right from wrong, and they still can go wild and do
Mm-hmm.
stupid stuff that you like. I don't know where this child get this from.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? There is cases like that, but my thing is, as a parent, don't you be a part of why they're like that.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Know that you can say you did the best that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you can say that and feel good about it, and it be true. If they go wild, hey, that was something. That's their story that they write. You can't
Right.
control
Absolutely.
after a certain point when they get grown. You can't control what they do.
Right.
Exactly. Absolutely.
You just give them the tools that they need, and you talk to them and communicate. One thing I always did is I always talk to my kids, and I communicate with them. I didn't hold nothing back. My mouth is really raw.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave it to them really raw. I gave it to them just like it is, so they won't be, oh my God, what is it? No, you finna know about everything.
Right. What
I
it
talk
is.
to my kids. So yeah,
Yeah.
so it has a lot of stuff play into why these young folks act the way they do. And some of it has to do with the type of parent that they have.
Right.
My
Well,
son.
Right.
for me, if you need to lead by example.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm,
I mean, if you want them to do right, they need to see you doing right.
That's right.
mm-hmm.
And that's just what it is. I mean, if you're telling them not to go out and do this, that, and the other, but here you are running out the door. I mean,
Yeah.
what do you think they're gonna think?
Right.
That you're a hypocrite and, you're not leading by example. So parenting for me is leading by example. If I don't want my
Yeah,
daughter to do something, or I don't think it's a good idea, well, why would I do it?
yeah,
Right.
and
Especially in this COVID.
Yep.
I'm not trying to get out there and catch COVID,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want my daughter to do that. So what am I going to do? I'm going to lead by example, and I'm going to stay in, and I'm going to hope that she's going to stay in. But also, like you said, Jocelyn, at a certain point in their life, they got to make their own decision.
yeah,
And that's just, I mean, that's just what I think
yeah,
Right.
and like me and my oldest son, we kind of bump heads a lot at the beginning of this COVID, because I was really, and I, even to this day, even though that I'm not, well, he don't live with me no more, so, but I was really like, don't do this, don't do that, don't be handshaking with people, because the let me tell you something. This disease, this not disease, or what is it called? It's a virus.
about. Mhm.
Um, the people that made this up, this strand, I should say, because COVID been out there, but this particular strand,
Mm-hmm.
they studied how we move. how many times we touch our face, how we move, right? So they know that we're touchy people. We
Yeah.
touch our face, we touch other people, and they say, okay, let's get something that we can make sure that is transmitted easily. And I knew at the beginning of this pandemic of how serious touching was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, my son would dap his friend up, what's up? They do the little, and it's like, to him, it was like I was watching his every move.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
that's not what it is, son. I'm trying to protect you. I'm trying to show you that this is one of the things that you can for sure get this virus from by
Mm-hmm.
touching hand, and then you're gonna touch
Mm-hmm.
your face. You're gonna touch your face. I never knew how much I touched my face until this pandemic. I touched my face a lot,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but and they like, oh mom, you just tripping. You just, they get all offended. Like,
Mm-hmm.
are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
That's just like if I didn't know, if I was not educated about something, I would either get very educated by it or I'll be very cautious until I'm educated. You know
Right.
what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
If they're giving out certain information, then you need to take heed to that information. And what you're doing is one of the main ways of transmission.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you do it?
Right.
And what are you thinking? Because once you're risking yourself, you're also risking me. So
Yeah.
are you telling me that my body can handle it? You're saying, oh, if I get it, I can handle it. And if I pass it to my mom, oh, she can handle it too. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
And who told you that? And
Right.
and you psychic? Oh, well then we really need to sit down and talk. I mean, like,
Ex-
what is it? I'm trying to
exactly.
understand, what state of mind are you thinking that is okay to do what you're doing? Oh, mom, I'm gonna
Exactly.
sanitize my hand. I'm gonna sanitize my hand, mama. Gonna sanitize my hand. Yes, so that's what you always say. I'm gonna sanitize my hand anyway. It doesn't matter until you sanitize your hand, unless you're gonna sanitize your hand right after you do what you do, then okay. But if you're gonna wait a minute, no telling what you're gonna do within that 5 to 10 minutes until you
Yep.
sanitize your hand.
Yep. Exactly.
Cause you so into your conversation. Yeah, yeah, you seen that girl yesterday, whatever y'all talk about.
Right.
You get
Right.
you get yeah, you all you gotta do is say, yeah, I seen it, did like this. Now you didn't touch yourself in the face. But you
Right.
ain't you didn't sanitize your hands. So whatever you just dabbed,
Right.
it's now it's on your hand and now it's
Right.
on your face. Now you get
Absolutely.
now that's germs.
Right.
Stuff like that. So it's just like, I just don't understand why these
No.
kids
And
don't
that's
get it.
yep. And that's where a lot of anxiety starts to come in. That's where that anxiety plays a big part. And that's what takes us through changes. And
Yep.
so when I say the word depression, I want to be clear. Not the type of it's so many strands of depression. But when I say depression, I'm talking in regards to the situation with COVID-19. I'm talking in regards to that situation and how it could lead to depression, being the fact that we all have to change our way of thinking now, our way of living, our everyday move. A lot of us out here in the world, period, don't like change. And the ones that do like change, it may be okay, but the way we had to make that quick change, boom, oh, in one night, overnight, everybody has to wear a mask. You can't stand, but so feet from a person. You cannot shake hands. You can't, you know what I mean? You can't hardly say hi to a person. You got to, you know what I mean? Just the whole 9 yards. I mean, uh, everybody's life has changed. And that right there, to me, um, could be a part of depression. It could cause a part of depression. It meaning it could keep you sad a lot, which will have you crying over some situations, just not being able to deal with your everyday normalcy that you're used to. So now we're in this new norm situation, wearing masks and carrying on, which plays a part in mood changing, being upset a lot over easy, simple situations because we have to stay inside when we're at work. We're not interacting with employees like we normally would. I mean, it just plays a huge factor in a lot that we are dealing with. And that's when I say that the whole mental health for us women is it's a lot because we still have to come home. Everybody has their profession, okay? So we're not going to tell what our professions are, but we're all in a profession, and all of our professions are caring, period, and dealing with people, period. And so that type of thing could just it just pulls us in all different type of angles and things like that, and not being able to do our jobs the way we know we really need to, we really can, we used to, everybody is feeling that raft, and it's making it hard. um and then not only that, we are okay, I'm sorry you guys. I was just getting where our time is almost up. We'll have to bring this into a part two. But I quickly want to say which brings us to having to stay strong as women. We all have kids. We have grandkids. We have to think about, our grandkids' future, our children's future, whether, our kids are grown or whether they're, not grown, it doesn't matter. We're still thinking about their future as well, So it's a lot of stuff that women have to deal with on top of all the crying and being happy at times and being sad at times, getting upset over the simplest things. And all of this stuff is due to this COVID-19.
Yes, and I definitely want to talk about the depression part of it. So on our, I guess on our part two.
Yeah,
Um,
we have roughly about 10 minutes to go. So we can get started on a little bit if you want to, and then we can kind of close it out and then start a part two.
okay. Um. Well, I don't have to be the one that you know to start that part. If your sister Tanya want to say something
I
about
do. I just want to say, depression for women, we're the ones that carry our family. So when we're depressed and they see us depressed, I think that spills over. You know what I mean? So depression hits everybody different. But I think with this COVID-19, it has put more depression, more anxiety, more unsureness on predominantly the women, I would think, because we have to make sure that our family is secure.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, believe it or not, I think your family goes on how you feel. Like if they see you depressed, then they're generally gonna, you know, feel some type of way because they see mom depressed.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I think for women, we just have to stay strong mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important that women stay strong mentally.
Mm-hmm.
And however you have to do that mentally, whether that's reading your Bible, praying, you know, meditating, whatever it is that you do, I just think it's very important to stay strong mentally to keep the depression down, because everything that's going on in this world, everything, it is very depressing,
Mm-hmm.
very depressing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think for me, um I had the part that depressed me the most during the pandemic is that I understood what was going on. I
Mm-hmm.
understood, okay, something has happened. This is what we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
But see, that's because that's how I live my life anyway. You know what I'm saying? Um, so uh, once I'm given instruction on what I need to do in order to get through something, then
Mm-hmm.
that's what I do.
Right.
It's the part that of other people around me
Mm-hmm.
that just cannot fall in place, just cannot listen, just cannot do it for a short period of time. It's almost like, you know, you don't know how to behave. You know,
Right.
people don't know how to behave. I know
Right.
how to behave.
Mm-hmm.
So I know, well, okay, this is what we got to do. Let's do this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think everybody around me is the one that gave me anxiety. It's the one that gave me depression.
Mm-hmm.
Had they not, you know, been all over the place because they needed to feel normal,
Mm-hmm.
I would have been okay. I felt like for some reason God prepared me for this moment. You know, I had other situations in my life that happened that, you know, was big to
Mm-hmm.
me. They was big
Right.
to me. They might have not been big to somebody else, but they was big to me. But it prepared me. I've already fought a giant before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A giant already backed me into a corner before,
Right. Right.
and I got out.
Right.
So it's just like if you I I don't know if some people, and not a lot of people have jumped out of a plane, and I haven't even jumped out of a plane, but that's the only thing I can think to reference it is. When you've done something, when you have been through something,
Mm-hmm.
it's certain things that can't touch you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This was
Absolutely.
something new. It, you know, no one has been through it. But see, I had, in a way, I was a little prepared.
Yeah.
As crazy as that sound,
Right. Right.
I was a little prepared.
Mm-hmm.
And not because I knew something was going. It's almost like God was preparing me for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And
So,
and and you know what? And so in that part, because I know that at times we have discussed some of the
mhm.
things that he's prepared you for, and I really really want you to share that in part two. And you guys, I really do think that this may end up going into a part three. Um, and so I'll tell you why here shortly. I'll, let you all know why. But I think that this is gonna end up going into a part three, and I'm definitely okay with that because I really want to really get in depth with this whole conversation, this whole situation, because everybody again is feeling the same wrath. Period,
Yes.
and it's going into the 40 minutes. So our time is up. I want everybody to stay tuned for part two, possibly part three of topics, Real Talk with Toy, and we're talking about women's mental health due to COVID-19. Very important, very important. So hopefully people get advice from all of this conversation. Hopefully people receive it. Hopefully people can share it. And it's just a special thing. It's just our real talk, real people, real life situations. And that's what it is. So when we join in together next time, I want everybody to grab your snacks, get you something to drink. You see how time goes fast. Even if it's water, Crystal Light, whatever you want to drink is fine. A pop, whatever. Let's just get into it. So what we'll do is we will join in next week for part 2 and carry it on from there. I'm so glad you guys were able to join me today and stuff in this. So we'll just get together next week and hop right into it. I say, let's get it. What y'all say?
I'm
Let's
down.
do it.
Let's do it. So,
Mhm.
having to say all that, you guys already know, just like I say in every single video, keep God first. Peace.